Yes.
I need to put data how you use it. The right amount of data will make a good decision.
Something is clever Welcome back after the lunch break. My computer's not playing ball, but we'll go on. We'll try and give me another one. We'll get underway. So welcome back. It looks like Marcus might be leading us into the session.
I was just going to say I'm handing over to Marcus to lead us into the session. Should feel very familiar to you all, as we had committed to coming back to you with the second and third tranche of the council's existing policy positions organised by topic, which were then feed into ultimately the briefing to incoming council for the next triennium. But I will hand over to the more than capable, highly skilled hands of Marcus Roy.
Welcome, Marcus.
I was just new team member today too. We've got Paul, who's just out of us week one. He's going to be our team leader for strategy and corporate policy, so he's going to assist in this mahi moving forward. So great your face moving forward. So yeah, take it easy on this day one. So he's just here to see council in action and work through the workshops process. So we've already been through, I guess, this part of the draft summary policy positions with council in a workshop form before. So we look to bring those changes back. So we'll put those ones at the very back of the room that you've already been through. So there's no sort of requirement to dig deep on those ones, but we have got a whole host of new ones to work through that we will put up on the walls in the front half of chambers. And we'll spend the majority of the time on that. But if you want to go and revisit some of the pieces that we've done in the past, they will be available at the back. So effectively, the purpose and scope of this work is to aggregate our existing Environment Southland policies that are in regional plans, regional policy statement, long-term plans, annual plans, Te Tangi a Tawera, statement of intent, all of those different components where the council's made a decision on certain aspects, trying to aggregate them into one or into topics so that it's easy to have a two-pager that you can go, oh yeah, this is council's position on freshwater or biodiversity or biosecurity or farm plans or whichever the topic is. So the purpose of these pieces are to aggregate existing, what we've heard the last 3 years with council and the different bits and pieces that have gone through. And we're not looking to establish new policies as part of this process because RMA's got a certain way of doing things, LGA's got a certain way of doing things where you've got to go through a long process and appeals and those sorts of things. So we're seeking to aggregate existing positions into one place to assist incoming councillors and also assist staff to make sure they're all singing off the same song sheet that councillors have directed. So policy summaries will provide clear expectations on managing activities, and so briefing to incoming councillors is going to be one of the key pieces. So as new councillors come on board post-election or existing councillors get back up to speed, then a good hand-holding point to go, okay, this is what previous councillors thought about this. Is that still true? Do we need to change it? What sort of processes do we need to go through to change it? And those changes will go through regional policy statements or regional plans and spatial plans and all those other aspects as we get into business for the new triennium. But they also support submissions to central government and likes of the fast track consenting process that Bruce has been talking to council on with Hananui or Contact Energy wind farms. They're a good starting point to go, okay, this is what we think about renewable energy or biodiversity loss or wetlands and incorporate some of those existing thinking into responses in short timeframes. But it's also an opportunity to engage with industry as well, with Frontier and coal mining industries, Kiwi Rail, those sort of aspects that we can bring those policy positions and go, actually, this is what we think about transport and how can we incorporate that into moving forward. And we recognise that they're a live document that as we change and evolve and things get done over the next triennium, that we'll continue to need to bring these back and update them and make sure that they reflect current policy components. So I've passed around a A4 introductory document, so we call this the mother document generally in a colloquial sense, due to the matriarchal nature of being really important in guiding everything else. So effectively you have seen this already. It was part of the last workshop, but I figured that we would circulate it to councillors as well, just to rebrief them. So it sort of talks about the purpose, which I've sort of had a quick whistle stop through around the process. Subsection 2 talks about the vision and mission principles, all reasonably familiar around what Environment Southland currently is, and that'll all be looked at again as part of the long-term plan process. Over into section 3, some of the existing legislative framework, and that's certainly not a comprehensive list. It's only a quick snapshot. I think there's probably over 50 pieces of legislation that Environment Southland needs to be cognizant of when undertaking business. Number 4, policy positions. We've tried to arrange them in 2 different tiers, in the sense that some of the tier 1 are more high level and tier 2 are more sort of detailed levels, so that they sort of naturally flow out. For example, the freshwater one will look at biodiversity, wetlands, forestry, and other components. So there's a higher order and a more sort of detailed order, but also in the sense that there'll be linkages between and connections across multiple existing position statements that will help guide decision making and work in the space. And the last part is just around that review process, recognising that as science changes, as community aspirations change, as legislation changes, we need to get these updated and keep them live. So happy for any questions on any of that commentary to date, and other than that we can.
Phil.
Just one really simple question. Are these policy positions, are they expressed as what we aspire to achieve, or are they expressed as what we are currently doing?
It's a bit of a mixture of both, but it's pretty much what we're currently doing. And I think that's probably the opportunity moving forward, is going, well, what next? Where are the gaps? How do we build them into being more comprehensive, but also quite trying to be quite tight to and limit them to 2 pages so that they're not effectively a 15-page document that becomes a bit cumbersome, and ideally there to be referenced to quick, easy to point to and go, right, okay, that's where we're headed. Is it true, is it not? Let's change that because our view on wetlands or constructed wetlands may have changed, and actually we need to update policy to reflect best practice in science.
Morris.
Well, thank you. Yes, Marcus, you've got on 4, you've got policy position tier 1 and tier 2. There's some overlap with the ones we've got in the paper that you sent out for us, but there's some difference as well. For example, tier 1, you've got biodiversity. Is that the same as Indigenous biodiversity?
Yes, it is, yeah. So it's probably just an updating.
Okay, and you've got coastal environment, which is not on this list. Is that one of the ones we've already done?
No, coastal environment was one we didn't do last time, but it is on the list to do today.
Yeah. Okay. And you've got floodplain management there. Is that the same as river management, or part of that?
Effectively, what we've done is tried to. The original thinking was to do floodplain management or river management, but it's more floodplain management, I think. So
we haven't got that in here. Is that a one to do yet, or?
So effectively, we've got the ones that we've created today, which is yeah, but there will be gaps, I guess, in other position statements that we haven't done yet. We just tried to do a list of the top of mind, what are the things that we need to address quickly and have at hand. But we had a bit of to and from with the integrated catchment team to go, do we do floodplain management, do we do river management, do we do gravel, how do we look at breaking that topic up to make it manageable?
So that is one that we will have a position statement on.
Yes, that is the plan, but I don't think we'll probably have the opportunity to draft it up prior to council meeting on the 17th, which is sort of the next step. Once we workshop it today, next plan will be to bring those amendments to full council meeting on the 17th to get adopted by council as the briefing to incoming council, and then it'll be rolled out as part of that process to new councillors. But in terms of meeting the need, there will be position statements that we will need to generate, policy positions that we need to generate as part of the process where there are gaps and as our more granular topics pop up. We need to be keep those consistent and build them over time and improve these ones over time too. This is sort of a first generation version that we will build to and add to over time as well.
No, I think this is a really good first step, and particularly for incoming councillors to be able to have two or three pages that they can actually see where everything links together is a really good first step. And it probably almost wants to be laminated and kept so that they can keep referring back to it, because regional councils are quite complex beasts, and it takes a while to get your head around where the linkages are and what actually our responsibilities are. So, fully supportive. Peter?
Yeah, I just want to back up what you said there, Nicole. Very complex. When you look down here, a whole of system view. That's us, isn't it? And we had that discussion earlier today about river management, and we discussed that. It's not that easy.
So what we'll do is we'll get some existing papers up on the wall and do similar to what we did last time, but probably be a bit less structured. We won't have a strict timekeeping. So when you feel you've done your part on that piece, move on to the next one and circulate around it as you see fit. But I guess some of the questions that, sort of maybe some questions you could ask yourself as you're going around. What surprises are there? What's missing? What requires further thought? What do you support, don't support, just to help as a bit of a framework or a lens to apply to what we've heard and what we've collected up as part of that process. So we've got some helpers to assist if need be, and we'll get them up on the walls and start circulating in a few minutes.
How many groups are there? Do you want us to 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, so you get even numbers going to each group? What do you want to do?
Well, the total of about 13 pages, 13 different papers. So we've tried to group them into 2s or 3s where we can, just so it makes it easier. Just to have the grading stuff each one. So yeah, happy for people to just circulate as they see. You don't have to do every single one. You can skip them if you need to, but yeah, good opportunity for your involvement in the process. So,
Jeremy, you want to show
Clear the rivers out.
Well, that's why all the main streets.
yeah.
No, there's over the rains. Right, we've got all the answers on this.
So there will be definitely
Any strategy around Yeah.
What are we supposed to be doing?
Talking to the posters. Reading the ones I didn't get
Yeah, that's why I just keep thinking self.
He read.
I had a better put you on say some characters.
Well, I did. I did one more. Not doing it until the bridge. You gotta get committed to do something.
Well, I think you've got. Well, these pretty obvious that the kids are.
Well,
These come inside, the outside.
one's quality and one's quantity. His fingers like it's honestly what's going to be
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that social experiment. I mean, I would just say.
Some of that stuff on the north end of town is.
No, it's not. Quite a few families and two children.
Well, it is a wee way from the river, but it almost looks lower in the side of the road.
That's not.
Wales is
I mean, COVID. There was another.
Very far above Southland, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
It's common sense.
How are they motivating
Environmental.
We don't have
Regional.
Yeah. Partnerships.
I don't think we establish a fresh versus freshwater objective.
It's not kosher, I want to know why.
I just see
I'm going to check where you are.
Yeah.
No,
Because obviously because it's not
establish versus freshwater objective. Limits and targets for freshwater management units. That goes right across.
So we just take it, or we do
I think so, do you think? What it
so, you know, it's Carolyn.
This is our position. Are you talking about technical? Let's talk technical. It's relevant.
Summarize.
Yeah. That's one of the main drivers. Yeah.
Well, yeah, what if you need to control much higher standard rather than saying you can't do it.
And remind me what.
That's the highest possible standard.
It's not something that's not transparent.
So that's not, there's nothing against it.
Well, I guess it's.
What it means is we need to. Yeah, that's give us space. That is.
Well, it's going to change the job, it's going to change the if we keep giving them science.
What about energy? Science is too slow.
The science is wrong. Because remember their science at the moment.
Yeah.
And then you're only going to show a tree. Set up. Last year, seeing
I'll be retained, that's my priority.
Yep.
Element of that. Develop.
And actually, it's not up for debate.
I suppose we are.
We just write it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Regulatory approach and development.
I think it's correct.
Quantity.
Better understanding.
Within the region.
So do you reckon there's other ways to influence the regulatory? Not even constitutions.
Yeah, it's
Do we need more tools around? Do we need? What's that wrong? Do we need more?
we need more education.
We
Oh, yeah.
Let us section.
Council provides the information.
So I would have believed it. Otherwise, it'd be strange.
Yeah, it's the one that comes out.
Okay. That would just, I just.
Interesting.
Yeah, that one.
Use the experts that come in.
There's that one about.
Do you want me?
When you get halfway around.
I get the real meat to put the text.
You know, I was wondering if that kind of distracts from this.
Either you take it off the price or you do it and
Those are two thoughts on that one.
Well, because I can't see.
It is quite
highlighted.
It's been like way back here.
You keep them on.
I was actually appalled to have the thought that I was going to ask someone for a question. So I was right. I'm probably opposed to post-it notes, but I really
circulation, all those sort of things. There's a whole burner of the house, selling the house. It's reasonably famous to put on the heat.
No, I know Alison Gordon, she would kill me if I honestly one day said to her, oh, I wish we'd get some other art. And the council charter would be sitting on me at that deadline.
I know.
Always
You need to put down.
Right.
Pull up space, Phil.
This isn't exactly the same text as in the thing, is it? Yeah.
Oh, this is so it's not the introduction then. It's just this much. Same with you,
Okay, cool. I think I'll ask about
integrated policies because they are.
maintained to a time. Was the limit. Focus. Yeah. Concern. Sure. That all the has its and stores limits.
To show that it's a continuous thing.
Yeah, what if I just put that question mark?
Just trying to get the words. Or dealing.
No, I think you're right. It is a yes. And that should actually
I know what
Groups that have a common use for efficiency and
Yeah, my question
dealing.
right
I
now,
mean,
Marcus,
it's
was,
great.
are we, is this aspirational?
aspirational. This is actually here now. Yeah. I'm gonna change in the introduction.
Introduction,
Yes.
Oh, not too bad.
Would be next tomorrow.
No, just. He's gonna have. This is just us. Not. I've seen this morning when I was drinking a cup of coffee. And it's really, it's a minerals loss. It's not really about I in mine. Anyway, I think it's
Also, the energy is taken, so they always
yes,
expanded on.
yes, so that I
Yeah, but what I'm doing is actually growing vegetables. I'm actually
trying to expand it
to
get the supplies and the gardens. Exactly. So they may still need from us, depending on how they are operating. And yeah, they're changing things.
And I got license. You pay me in advance, you'll leave them for this cost.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, the seed, and we need to be proactive about giving the performance. If you want people to do it, it's got to be affordable.
That's where you go.
They're
Pretty expensive.
Oh.
Side, yeah. Because we live out of rooms, finding customers. I think.
But I was going to got too much. You've got to wait. Even though that's not to do it. Right, I always done what stuff I wanted to do.
That's fantastic. I would go.
Well, to me, that's cool. We're going to do that. We're going to stop the degradation.
Steel farm, that is
Yeah, well, I will. I was like. Depends on
district. Sometimes they do the council over reserve.
So land here.
Yes, well, yes, and the erosion here is quite similar.
Because there's already a road digging, so we can't, so I think,
How we got any?
Hands off my jeans.
Jamestown, Jamestown. Last time I was there, Jamestown.
We took out.
Yeah. How often part of that? Too late.
Yeah. I only go what people tell me to go and do. Always looking for new places to go. He's recommended a hut to me to go and stay. We're going to walk on him.
So you go to.
Yes, that's where I live. Yeah. So it's a little bay. Yeah.
She's talking about the Christian
This is how you measure. This is how you do it. While I've gone, you can see.
But that's further around. Yes, we have to pass that and like caravan.
This is what's.
Wow, so they
People get changed.
Add it to the list.
Coming out of the. There's a way.
Thank you. Similarly changes to real sometimes.
We can't touch everything.
Probably more than a bottle. Yeah,
Chinese club. If you want to be rich, first you want Chinese problem.
I'll just make a note of it, then you'll email through. Yes, yeah, those are very real. It's almost like a 3-4 hours. Yeah. I've got two. We just start out with. Okay. And let's get out inside.
Respectfully, and like we had that fun conversation. Let's not do that. It's fine.
Trout fishing, for example. My husband spent the whole of the first
How did you go?
Oh, terribly. He came on Monday. So exhausted. Spent all day in the river doing this. Oh, yeah. He's doing the fraction. Really? Half a You know, I just found the paper.
Oh, I have two. Point B is
Yeah, so on.
And I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
well, I think it's been in your
Well, no, there's something. Right, okay, so is there a policy, money related feasibility? I don't know. You guys have been doing this, and I'm not sure you've done it right. Well, yeah, right, but is there a long-term solution? What cost? All of our sounds. Very sick.
Do you think there's enough understanding for us to be able to?
We're smothering.
Be clever, come up with a plan.
So it's more about you support this intent,
Well, yeah, it's the same point, right? So, yeah. And it's a and then speak. I do know that. Encouraging them to do best practice. My husband was finding. So our neighbour one day, so about that in a bit of But in, even within our own community, right now, we're and maybe that relates to rights and stuff like that. This is kind of a position, it's not, and in my future policies would be future focused. That was a story.
Marcus, or do you?
We know that.
I got a lot of text on that one, and it just seemed more efficient since it's already typed up in a Word document to email it rather than write it out once more.
Not while we're looking.
Sorry, Marcus, it's fine coming in about 2 more minutes.
Yeah, no,
Just
I
turn it
do.
off.
Say, for example.
The live stream, so, but go around and check.
So that's my.
Yeah.
Like weekends?
Is the product going to support a big yes or no?
What's going
Do I need to cross it out?
So there is reading
Here we go.
If anyone asks, I will.
Yeah, you'll sort them. You sort them.
It's done all this.
Okay.
It goes for a PVC. I can see why this will make a challenge by thinking here and here. And I think that appendix E, what it was written on, this should go on this. Get Fonterra to have their own budgets and their plans. Because everybody else will have to.
I found the what did you say?
That was about 3 million. Plus online monitoring cost to the council. So
It's good enough for us to so we can target carry on. So this disruption.
Well, that's what happens when you stand back and hold hands on the council. We had a window.
It's a distraction from
Yeah.
team.
I'll take out, it should be.
I've got the right.
Which is what. It does have to be accurate.
We don't. That's pretty much the crux.
Thank you.
Without a committee, it's not.
Make some suggestions.
Just wonder who's got that red pen.
Yeah.
So therefore,
Well, not they,
What else?
as in there's certain sectors.
You can have your.
Yeah. Email all the stuff through.
I'll email
The target
Marcus.
Yeah. Not at this job. It can be, but we don't need to
I'll just, yes, so I think how's been talking.
It's just so straightforward.
It has been, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some feedback.
Digitally.
Yeah. You know, I
Just
think.
pointing.
Yeah.
You should never have written it.
What are you doing? Andrew, you gonna put
There's too much evidence of industry efficacy at play, and the wording was used there.
He's coming from me, like, I can't. But this is the thing, we just need training.
Yeah.
This is something we can see.
Yeah.
Because it's out of the environment.
It's interesting looking at that.
It is your funds. It works off white, that's the beauty of it, it works off white.
But it's,
Yes, so you can do it. and it's blind spot around the day.
Yeah.
Is this the one at the
So
bar?
email-
Yeah, which, the complicated beast, the old way what's done.
Starlink crash.
Yeah, Starlink crash.
That's the thing, it's like.
Awesome, here.
Yeah.
We should do more with that.
Yeah.
Gender fine.
Well, actually,
Sort of the selective.
I think you're playing games.
No, I'm not, I'm catching up on.
Do you believe your boys
I write
soon from you?
I write it and then I delete it.
Because they're quite small.
Oh.
Because you see, how many villages do not use it? How efficient are they relative to
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, but that's a question we've got to answer enough to know whether we put it back in the same area.
Well, you got industry like they have a consent. They have a consent. They've got to have
They can just say,
Yeah,
yeah, but how many big ones you got? Yeah. How many little ones you got? So how many little ones you got?
Gullies.
Yeah, but they would be quite efficient.
Oh, well, I go through, so, yeah, that's several.
Yeah.
You're growing them, aren't you?
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, that's down the bottom.
Yeah.
You're not looking at light.
You've got several of them.
Well, I've got one up around the gully that way,
Yeah.
and then I've got another one at the gate. But that one there is more
Well,
than the
that's
nature
quite
involved.
natural. isn't it?
Well, it's an old pond, but then I tend
Yeah.
to.
You know, they under 3 meters.
Yeah, 2.8. 2.79.
You wouldn't. Yeah. And there's quite a lot of land in town.
Yeah,
Underneath. the
yeah, well, that one
terraces.
was less than half that.
Yeah.
And that's,
And that would have been what, 5, 10?
Oh, I started.
I was just talking to Lucy and I said,
One size.
my dad was doing big black thing
So
on
all
the
of
back.
that.
It was a big
Yeah. Have you guys ever done?
Starts up the gully.
I don't think there's like one size. Staff not doing racing. We did, it's usually for a reason, because it could be quite dark. It's usually used in a really
It's
pejorative.
used in the,
No, well, no, that big one is used in flood, but underneath there's a 6-inch pipe goes with an elbow and comes up, and that's what maintains it, and then that's the overflow for the flood.
are coming out.
Yeah, that big one.
So you don't get.
We sell them, we sell them coming in one size. Solution. So figure out the risk of.
You were getting goats out of America.
Simple.
Now, what's that?
Oh, I haven't been getting them yet, but I saw
But you saw
21
them.
there. 21, I'm on 21. Well, I saw them away up there. With my bino.
Lifestyle.
No, well, they're wild. They're all colours. I'm sure a white one. Oh, a white fellow. Hello. I saw the trees moving. The white one. It was the only white one that called. I saw them on the last year.
You don't want to dump them down.
Way up there. Well, just through my binos, probably 2 mile away. Because I was actually and they were all
Too simple.
the spotting's coming up.
Then we're gonna go, well, what's the point of having a farm
And it would
there
have
that's so
been
simple, it's not doing anything.
This year,
At least.
But we can, we've said that we can make.
Have you got many deer coming in? Have you
I've
jumped?
got 12.
We've named the risk of over-convecting. We've not named the risk of coming to.
What did you get?
Doesn't require being
Well,
So that's pretty the same.
yeah.
But about a third of them.
So you could see.
One had a cattle tag. Because I sent it to work for that chief.
Yeah. And then they come. Wrong.
This is good.
So did they find it?
No, they won't tell you because of privacy.
So, but you didn't get paid for that?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you did?
because it goes through on my sheet.
Yeah, but I thought they might have found.
Oh,
it.
well, they didn't. I just said I'm catching. I'm not.
The only problem
No,
is
oh,
that
I've got to
the
be
more
on
I see
the
industry
with
fingerprints
the whole
on
lot.
farmlands, the less confident
I've had one for one job of mine.
And that's coming from someone who's not involved in farming.
No. It's taken me fighting through. So now I have.
That's not their fault.
Oh, right. You know, well, just tell me why just find it.
Yeah, you've done it.
I'm not probably, but now when I cheat, I'm good.
Yeah, but they're too dangerous.
Well, I'm in a better place now.
Oh, so you're gonna do any more farming going forward? Oh,
No, I've got
you've got back into the book.
no, I said that's enough. Yeah, I've got time to move on. I'm going to be following it.
That's the thing that alarms me. Industrially,
They must have a choice.
that we've got to.
I think I'm a little bit excited because it's shown a 7% return this year. Well, I think there'll probably be some sales of land in there as well. I don't know. I haven't done.
Yeah, but you can't get some.
It's not tracking that way, it's tracking
Correct.
off track.
Oh, I don't know. Well, they've got 37 dairy farms. So there's a few. Probably a big one there. Yeah, they've got 37 dairy farms. And then the beef thing. It's sort of about North Island paid 100 and 100 kilos, $8.
And he could have got 850.
So Jeremy's telling me that he's getting 600. Castle Rock. And, 260 kilos. Not great. 102 grand. I just keep my hands in my pocket. Well, it's a bit of worry because what we put on.
And you get those people
Rather handy,
they do from Roxton.
Well, we do, once we leave, so all the heifer calves come down, that are 300 kilos and calving, so we get calves at Tiana from heifers, then we get from, they're all black. And then we get mixed aged out of rocks. And that's what we got. And then we shift the boys up to the heifers at the southern Mansell. Because at Tiana, you know the game. You can keep them. No, Southern Man used to be down at Tarcote and Progress Valley, and it outgrew facilities. So they have the first Tuesday in March here. So that's the southern answer. And we normally, and that gets rid of all our boys and coloured heifers. And we normally, first and second at the sale. Second overall price, but the highest price per kilo. So some were a bit bigger, but they weren't tagged on the Angus Pure program. So you could go on fast.
But in terms of the farm.
Yeah, well, that was my 2-year-old heifers. Yeah, they've got the calving. Yeah, the calving. I had
demonstrate what's going to help us.
that data. Oh, he said, I'm going to get it. I'm going to touch you. Share it all over my kid. How do you do it with your book? He's on the freezing. I'll give you a free price.
Oh.
And he was quite familiar.
Oh, well, it's just the way it's
He's pretty good. So how many years you gonna give that?
Well, he tried last year, 13.
Yeah.
Well, 600 kilos. There's a big one.
No, this is no jump.
You know,
This is
But where do you go from there?
well, I've bought some of the information and I've got some of his products. Yeah. So, I've got 2 of his products.
So you're gonna expand your cattle program?
Well, no, I've got some of his products where I am, and ultimately Andrew will take me over. Well, it's not my son.
Yeah.
You come back
No,
to
they're all done. So we don't Thursdays, I'm in the town on Thursday. Wednesday's like, you know, what is on these New South Wales, well as the field.
You wouldn't get away.
Winston set him up. Statement about the town railway station, which is unique in New Zealand. Unique in a lot of it. Anyway, and they're going to restore it. But he says, and he said, I want you to pay attention. The ferries are on track. We're gonna, under the leadership of Duncan, we'll be saving $2 billion. He said, if this doesn't work, it's not his fault.
So is he still enjoying it?
I think so.
Because he get to a point.
If he puts this off, he will go really well.
Because he's probably implications.
Yeah, well, he's right now, he's withdrawn out of the daily management of the ferries to just focus on shore infrastructure and ferries. He's pretty much, you know, got 2.5 jobs. He hasn't got day-to-day worries.
Yeah, so your son, so he was taking over.
Well, the whole idea of the subdivision is not so much to do to buy out the he's taken the sheep over. I can't shear now. So, he's taken the sheep over and we've got this breed of sheep we created for challenge society. It's a standardised cross between sheep and Southland.
Time's up.
Float something.
2022.
Landing and those groups.
Free drainage.
And they're only hobbits.
Well, no, they're lambs, you know, they're not just hobbits. You know, but they go out to people who want to make them hobbits.
I haven't even seen the sign up.
Going on the audit, so.
Yeah,
Well,
and she's being here.
He's growing into the job. He's quite a smart young guy.
Fertilizer down.
And they don't get feed on fruit grass when
Changes. You get any land, that's fine.
Getting a few slips of about
selling 30
You say that it's
I mean,
Oh, yeah, no, and there's mothers are pretty.
You're running.
nobody told me.
So it's a cold, they don't shelter. But that, I think they'll take away cost.
Biggest prices are only 1 section.
So, well, no, we now standardised three. Hang on. It's got a genetic system coming in, cold, 6 rams and.
So it is a business.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to buy it.
One's got a bit of a, but I sort of know if I've got a really but I know that on a temporary basis, we can give space, break the infection, and bring it back on the brakes, and then it would start. But then I'll get close to September.
Because there's nothing weird.
It's pretty demoralising. Yeah, especially with the prices down.
And a few slips.
Get that point out the never had it, but just used to get the Brandenburg farm.
Yeah, the Brandenburg works.
Pretty well. And
Yeah. You've done that. Oh,
One of those things. I was interested in income from now on.
yeah.
Have a few items.
What do you think? The commission will have to do, they'll be doing their business, but it'll be more.
Dairy farm.
Southland.
Well, she's good. Son Andrew, the one in Colburn Road. He does tart
It has
farm.
to be done locally. So people with a
So she loves it. Well, she did the muscle.
So I think the local government commission are coming down.
I think people that understand talking to some of them there.
But it is,
Oh, yeah.
and that was the thing that I was saying.
I came in just behind it.
Oh, no.
Nobody
I don't know what the plates.
And it is pretty, totally like.
We need the 55,000. I think.
Showing up.
Yeah. But there was that thing as well.
But the one I had two ago, I gave Still going. The motor was going.
Like even like, Southland.
Anything personal.
Southland, but it's easy for me on CCO.
There is a,
And apparently.
But not too much.
Two biggest just got in the population. Yes, two biggest races.
I actually don't. I think I have 3 balls.
We've done stuff with the LTP.
Well, driver. I can.
Borrow money.
From Invercargill, Southland back for 48.
There's no way you can still do something.
Well, you can't go on. I keep supporting.
A lot of people want to.
Have you got
the model under one unit tree that would serve the purpose of a couple of staff. Budget, secretary.
Kevin wants to just say, I'm out.
Actually, if I'm driving, that's what it does when it comes into a hill. Yeah, about 2 years, keeps it at speed, whereas if you just leave your foot there.
Feel as though they lose their voice. They'll just keep saying, they'll say no.
No. That's the thing, I call it protection.
Well, they charge mine.
I got done on 2nd of January this year, coming from last year. Said you'll see the 100. Are you telling me this is not 100? It's all up to you.
Because it is 80.
It is 80, but 2 weeks later, Chris Bishop turned it back to 100.
Oh, so did you ever go?
No.
Yeah, mine was up to 80. No, it was 65. I think I'm back here.
I'd be on it at 35.
Yeah. And if you drive, it's just
Right off up there. Just a little bit of land.
Okay, we might all concede it again. The sooner we tidy up, the sooner you all go home.
I'm just feeling.
That's right, keep it warm for me.
We try.
Cute.
All right.
Okay, we back at Marcus's hand, are we?
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, great conversations. Great to listen in on a few of those conversations. And although the existing text is a summary of our existing policies, there's a lot of great practical solutions that are alternate tools to achieving outcomes that came out of this conversation. So it was a real observation of mine, but keen to hear any observations in general from the process and any thoughts about next steps, or if there's a policy summary that we haven't done that is valuable for incoming councillors, or the work that we do, then keen to hear about those suggestions as well. So round table, and then we'll leave it to your afternoon.
Any comments, questions? Okay, John, then Jeremy.
Yeah, so just for incoming councillors, I think we need to make sure they're up to speed on what Appendix N is, what the farm plans were originally, what plan change to, how far we got the plan change, just so they have some technical understanding of what was prior to this government coming in. I think it's really important because if they don't, they're just going to, oh, what's the big issue? Just carry on.
Jeremy?
A lot of words, you know, in these positions, and sometimes it is, you wonder, especially you have abbreviated down, but it's actually just going through, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean for people that haven't been around the government's table? So, I think it's just giving people time to understand that to new people coming in. Because, you know, it's a lot of reading, absorbing, things like that, but it's actually trying to, how does that fit into the community or the overarching, how rules are made and things like that. So I'm just putting it out there.
Just if I can add to that, the point you made about understanding around how rules are made and that type of thing, we do think that there is an opportunity to brief incoming councillors on some of our key processes. For example, consenting, plan making, compliance and enforcement, science monitoring, so that they're up to speed, like those of you who we will see next training already are on how those work, because it's not just topics, there's also processes as well. So we are looking at very high level summaries of that, but I absolutely acknowledge there's a huge amount of work that's been done by staff on this. You know, like any local government entity, we have a huge number of policies, strategies, plans, approaches and the like, and we're trying to distill them, but absolutely acknowledge it's enormous, it's a lot to get through.
Peter?
Yeah, I just want to say how valuable that was, and that's the level that we're at and we should be at as a council. Yeah, definitely roll that out to a new council after all the inductions are done. Continue on and do it every year, just to see are those things still relevant, because our environment around us, our political environment, social environment is changing at a very fast pace, and we need to have a look at things and make sure, is that still relevant to us, or is all these new things coming in? So just keep updating it and keeping an eye. So we get actually familiar with all the stuff that's in there too, which is quite important. So yeah, really well done, really good.
We've got Lyndall, Phil, then yourself. Lyndall.
Thanks, Chairman. Just a couple of things. Noting that lots of this work, which is amazing, by the way, has been distilled from a whole lot of policies and a whole lot of documents. It might be helpful if they were footnoted to where they'd come from.
They are in the long form.
Oh, okay. Because, you know, when I get my 2-pager, it would actually be really helpful if I can just go, oh, that came from that document. And if I want to read it further, I can. So that note, and the other one was, you know, any good board of governors has a cycle of revisiting their policies. You know, a formulaic cycle of, and I know we can't do that necessarily with much of the stuff, but there are some things that I would expect that we have an intention to revisit on an annual or triennial basis, and a schedule of those laid out for us so that nothing slips through the cracks, you know, process-wise later on, but allowing for random acts of government that mean we need to visit things more frequently. Thanks.
Phil?
There's two things that I thought of that, and I'm not sure if they're a tier 2 policy position statement or if there's some other short explanation that helps a new councillor understand a concept and work out where it fits. One of the potential tier 2 policy position statements might be around data monitoring and science as a standalone policy position, potentially. And the other one that I was less certain of was integrated catchment management, where it connects with the floodplain management thing, but goes wider and helps a new councillor understand that we're probably on this year, possibly decade-long journey to build towards integrated catchment management at an effective level. I'm not sure if that's a suggestion that might be considered.
Through you, Chair, I just want to Lucy.
Yeah,
On that.
thanks, Marcus. Yeah, so Chair, absolutely. Off the back of this morning's conversation and the around floodplain management, one of the things that I squirreled away and did at lunchtime was to talk about exactly that. How do we make sure we've got a briefing that's got floodplain management approach outlined, which is what my answer to I think it was Jeremy's question this morning's session was. But David and Helen and I were talking about how do we kind of make it broader so it's really clear about how it sits within that framework of integrated management. So yeah, we've got some slides already prepared for an actual induction kind of conversation as opposed to a position statement.
I've got myself then Morris. And I support John's idea of perhaps doing a couple of pages of recent history. We could start with the water and land plan, the time it went through the Environment Court, but also pointing out that it was aligned with the MPS for fresh water and the existing RMA. And that's one of the issues we're now grappling with is a government that have indicated they're changing them both. Because you've got some new councillors probably coming and saying, you guys haven't done enough. So it's actually giving them a bit of background of what we've been intending to do and the situation you actually have before you for a new council. Morris.
Well, I think it was, yes, certainly I support John. I remember, and Eric would know, we sat on the hearing panel for the water and land plan and there were 900 odd submissions and we took weeks and weeks to listen to all of these people. So it has already had a huge amount, and then there's environmental stuff, of course, huge amount of input. So, you know, it's basically all there and it only just needs a little tweaking maybe at this stage. And I also want to support Phil and what Lucy's saying about floodplain management. Maybe as a subset of that, you could have river management. We're talking about gravel management, and Paul's talking about dry cuts and that sort of thing. Where do we see, like, how do we deal with all that stuff? So sort of people can be clear as to what how we're approaching that sort of thing.
Anyone else that I've missed at the stage of it? It's like it's kind of, I guess we always know that on the river management type of stuff, we get likely to get more permitted activities, and I still worry about who's going to pay for the cost of monitoring permitted activities. But there's always going to be the need for consents for the more complicated things, and it's just to be able to get a message out there that's clear and consistent. And in a lot of cases, and the stuff that Taylor's working on is actually getting if it's a reasonably simple consent, the process is not too costly and not too lengthy, so that people think, oh, I don't have the permitted activity, but actually Environment Southland can do this if it's not too complicated. That there'll be almost a template. You can tick these things, we can actually process it reasonably quickly, and you can get on and do your business. But there'll always be regulatory safeguards, even for permitted activities. Peter.
So what we're talking about, how would this sort of segue into a long-term planning process too, through into next term? Is it something that we can start to reaffirm these policy positions and start to develop up through our LTP, some of these policies, or add to them?
Yes, certainly. So I guess the policy development does take time, and like changes to the water and land plan, for example, what are we, 8+ years deep? So trying to re-establish a policy position on how we're going to deal with contaminants in waterways. So it's not quick to develop policy, but I guess what we see in suggestions up here today, there's a lot of non-regulatory approaches and methods that we can take and actions we can do that don't require policies, and there's partnerships, there's other opportunities to influence, which I guess form part of that LTP cycle. There'll be regulatory components that we will take time to work through and develop, and environmental processes, whatever the new legislation looks like. But there's still a whole lot of gold in there in terms of non-regulatory things that we can influence and support and enable, and partnerships we can grow to deliver outcomes without having to constantly regulate to get outcomes. So yeah, that testing of which tool we're going to use to get those outcomes will be part of that LTP process.
It'll be a good segue and introduction into that process, going over these policy positions. Council, some stage.
Right, so anything further need from us this afternoon?
Thank you very much.
Oh no, it's been an interesting day, and it's really good idea to get some stuff down there that the new council, it's a platform for the new council to start with, and new councillors in particular, but I won't be here, but good luck with all that. So.
Maybe we'll come and talk to you about it on the way to Manapori.
Right, yeah. I can start writing to them to say, what are they thinking?
Look forward to your memoir.
She'll be on that catchment liaison committee executive before we know it.
Oh dear.
Would you cause us trouble?
I could always buy a house at Gore and stand from the terrace. But on that note, I think we'll declare the workshop closed for the afternoon. Thanks for your contributions and thanks for the work with one and getting us to the stage. Well done, guys.
I've still got another lingering question.